Hey there, it's Marie Forleo, and you are watching Marie TV, the place to be to create a business and life you love. And this ain't Q&A Tuesday. You know why? It's a very special Featured on Oprah's Super Soul Sunday as one of the next generation of thought leaders, Gabby Bernstein is making her mark. Expanding the lexicon for the next generation of spiritual seekers, Gabby is the #1 best-selling author of Add More Ink to Your Life, A Hip Guide to Happiness, and Spirit Junkie, A Radical Road to Self-Love and Miracles. And now she is launching her new book, May Cause Miracles, published by Random House. Gabrielle is also
psyched to be back on Marie TV. Second time,
so I know.
Good.
Your first episode, the first one that we did together, was all about manifesting, and I think, I don't know, like 35,000 people watched that video as of right now. They're really, really digging it. Yeah. So I know you have a new book. This is huge. So tell me about this book. It says it's a guidebook of subtle shifts for radical change and unlimited happiness. I am so proud of you for this. This is amazing. But I want to hear what inspired you. Why did you write this next book?
So you and I talk about this a lot. We really want books based on what the call is from the audience. So if people are, I can sense it. It's not even necessarily something people say, I can feel it.
Yeah.
So when I wrote my book, Add More Ink to Your Life, I needed to see myself qualify the work and say, okay, this is who I am, this is how I got here, even a handbook. And I kept feeling the sense of this call from people saying, I just want to know how to do things. I want to be told what to do.
That's really, really interesting because I've seen that a lot in my work and just throughout my career, that people want to be given the step-by-step to anything.
Absolutely. And you do a great job of that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But they don't want to figure it out on their own. And I know that this is, it's a 42-day.
It's a 40-day guide. It's a 6-week course, and it's broken up into all the different corners of our life. So from our personal experience with our sexual relationships, kind of cover everything.
That's awesome.
40-day guide,
And so tell me more about how the book is broken down. So it's a 40-day guide. There's meditations.
Every day has the same, and I really have to say that it works because obviously I'm walking around a pretty happy girl, you know?
You know, so. I will say this too, and I love this because you and I have been friends for years, and so I see you when we're out doing things in the world, like we got to do Oprah together, and I also see you at parties, but I also hear from you, you know, you call me up, and that's one of the things I love about you is that you walk your talk. And so I love that you've put everything that you do down into a book for the rest of us to be able to learn. So that's awesome.
That was kind of part of the call. Like the audience kept saying, well, what is it that you do? How do you start your day? How do you practice these principles? How do you keep it going? And so that was really the main message, was saying, okay, here's a morning reflection. Start your day with this new idea. Here's an affirmation that goes along with that. You can continue to practice with that affirmation throughout the day. And then the final part was at the end of the evening to really sit in contemplation. And that's when I really do most of my journaling, and I do some reading, and I open A Course in Miracles. And so I've given all the heavy lifting in the evening because I think people don't want to do that self-reflective work in the mornings. And they don't have a midday break. Not everybody. So it's an evening exercise to just go a little bit deeper, do some journaling, get a little dirty.
I like it. So, you know, all of our Marie TV viewers, we have folks that maybe for spirituality and God is not really a part of their conversation, but I have to say, I think most of them, it is part of it, whether they consider themselves religious or spiritual. They're very open-minded to it. And the title of your book is May Cause Miracles. How do you define a miracle?
So to simplify a miracle, it's really when we shift our perspective, when we see something with more love. And it's often that we're walking around in these sort of crazy cocoons thinking, oh, I can't really feel as though there's no way out. But through these practices, we begin to shift our thinking. And the moment that you shift your thinking, the moment that you say, I want to see this differently, I'm ready to see this differently, that's when the miracle occurs.
So that's awesome, because I've heard you, I attend your lecture. I feel like that's so powerful because it doesn't mean like the clouds have to part and someone comes down and then all of a sudden that your life is necessarily different because some outside force came and, changed your home or gave you a new job. But really the power of a shift in perception, I know for me, whenever I do have that shift, my entire life does feel different.
Yeah. Well, when you have that energy shift, then you open the floodgates for everything to fall into place. And often what I teach is that there's really a lot of powerful energy working on our behalf. And this is science too. It's quantum physics. It's like we are vibrating at a certain frequency. And we talked about this in our last episode. If you start to think with higher thoughts and move into a more enlightened way of being, then you literally, it's almost like you open this massive door for all of the guidance that you need to expand your life. And the books will come in, the teachers will come in, the resources will come in. in, the support system, the publicity will come in to get the messages out. Whatever it is that you know.
We just were right at the beginning of 2013, and so many people have resolutions at this time of year. They're pumped up, they're ready to like make all these big changes, and I know that May Cause Miracles can help people actually transform their habits and behavior. Tell me more about that.
Well, one of my big intentions for this book was to make it really helpful for folks that are ready to make that resolution stick. Because when we hit January 1st,
Yes.
everyone's like, oh, I'm ready to make changes. Oh, well, did you want me to do Cartman?
Can you do?
So we have this experience of wanting to make change.
Right.
And we're ready. Isabel is really opening up to willingness. But January is a hot spot. It's like right when we're all willing to change. We're ready to do something different. And so that's really the first step to having any resolution stick. Is
For me, if I'm hanging on to my point of view or my perspective, there's almost like whenever I've been really bratty, there's no willingness inside me to even have it transform, whatever my bratty state is, because I'm so committed to my own point of view. And I think that for many of us, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this.
wake up and say, I'm ready to do this. You know,
Yes.
so it's like for me, I've been on a path of trying to give up